Hi everyone, I just want to make a quick little welcome back to my YouTube channel video clip. I realized while editing all of my video clips that I have leading up to my 10K that I never filmed a final wrap-up of my thoughts or even an intro video to the video. So just wanted to pop on here real quick and say that the next couple clips that you'll be watching are just random little clips I collected throughout my progress of training for my first 10K. So I hope you guys enjoy and I will catch you guys later. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this video ever sees the light of the day, I know future Sarah will be so proud of herself because today I am officially training for my first 10K. I have completed 3 5Ks, and so this year I really wanted to challenge myself and do my first 10K. I have already signed up for it. I believe it is on September 14th. I'm very excited. I feel like running is something I never really saw myself ever getting into, but now having completed 3 5Ks, I really wanted to push myself a little bit further and try a 10K. And I just kind of wanted to make one whole comprehensive video of my experience training for my first 10K and how my 10K went. The amount of research that I have been doing with either reading books or articles or looking at YouTube videos, I feel like there's so much to learn and I'm very excited about it. So I feel like that's something I'm very much looking forward to in this year of 2025. So I've already started to make some training plans for me. I'm dividing up my training plan into 2 parts. From the research that I've done, you really need to have a volume of miles as well as an intensity for your miles. And currently, I really don't have either. I do more running if I know a race is coming up, and since my last 5K, I've only honestly gone on a couple runs, so my goal mileage for every week has honestly been at 0. So we are starting from 0. So part 1, my first 16 weeks of training will be just about volume, getting my 0 goal mileage up to 15 goal mileage. And from the research I've done, that's the minimum range of how much you should be running a week is 15 miles if you're preparing for a 10K. I've seen upwards of 30 plus miles, but I feel like a realistic goal for me would just to be consistently running 15 miles a week. I think that would be a really good goal for me. And then part 2 is all about intensity, which is I'll really be focusing on my pace and keeping a pace. Because honestly, I've never been good at doing that, / I don't know how to do that. One of the things that I have done to help me learn how to keep a pace is buy a fitness watch. This is the Garmin Forerunner 55. I feel like I have a lot to learn with this thing. I am just about to go on my first short run with this tonight at the Y, and I feel like it'll be a good test run for how it will work. I honestly meant to wear it all day long because at my workplace, as I've mentioned on my channel multiple times, at least my current workplace, I should say, I get anywhere between 20 to 30,000 steps, and I really wanted to start tracking that data, but I'll start tracking it tomorrow officially. But for tonight's purposes, I would really like to test how to set it up once you start a race and how to end it when you're done with a race. So yeah, I'm very excited. I feel very green to the whole thing despite having done 3 5Ks. I feel like increasing my distance has made me realize that this could become a passion project for me the year of 2025. It's just a way to also focus on my health in a way that won't make me feel selfish. It's I am working towards a goal. So as I've mentioned on my channel before, I really struggle with feeling valid unless there's an end goal. So now that I have officially signed up for a 10K, I feel like I have something to work towards and I'm very excited. So yeah, I just wanted to keep this intro video really short. I'm sure I'll be including clips throughout my journey. I will not be filming every single day. I have learned my lesson from the 75 soft challenge. That is a lot of footage and a lot to edit. So I'm hoping to just document little bits and pieces along the way. So I hope you enjoy and stay tuned to see how my first 10K goes. Hi y'all, it's been a minute since I have caught up with you guys on this goal of mine of running my first 10K. I am currently in week 6 of my training. Did want to update, I had to redo week 1 because I ended up getting sick that week. But we are currently in week 6 and I just completed my longest run ever and I am so proud of myself. I just did 3.5 miles. And to give people encouragement who are watching this video, I really emphasize intermittent running. The few training books that I've read so far really encourage that type of running, especially if you're trying to get your body adjusted to running in general. And I still call them runs. That was the longest run I've ever done, and I'm literally so proud of myself. The longest runs I've done prior to this one were the 3 5Ks I've done, and 5Ks are only 3.1 miles. And today's run was 3.5, and I am so proud of myself. That felt like such an accomplishment. And it was definitely a push, don't get me wrong, but honestly, even though it feels physically demanding at times, it's like I've hit a mental place, at least with this far of a distance, that it's like attainable. Like I can picture myself doing it, and I did it. Like I was so excited for it. I had songs queued, I had a podcast queued, and my run went so well. And I've been using this website and this app. I'll try to insert photos to help me like trace paths to figure out like how far of a distance I need to go. So it's been helping me do like new running paths to like keep me mentally like stimulated, and I cannot recommend that more. So anyway, just wanted to catch up with you all. I just did that and I'm so proud of myself. So yeah, we are on our way to the 10K. Y'all, I just finished my 4th 5K. I'm so proud of myself. The way that these runs always make me cry is crazy. I don't know why running, especially races, can be so emotional for me. But y'all, I am so proud of myself. I can't. The way that I started the run crying and then finished crying, and I broke down 2 times, literally like falling to the ground crying, just like so proud of myself. Oh, it feels so good. This is why, oh my gosh, this is exactly why I get so amped for these things, and like it makes me want to keep doing them, because the way you feel after accomplishing and just crossing that finish line is just, the high that you get off of that is crazy. And on top of that, this was the best 5K I've ever run. I thought I was only beating my best time by maybe 30 seconds, and I just checked my little like run sign up like profile that has all of my results from all the different 5Ks that I've done. Y'all, the last one I did was the fastest one I've ever did, and I think that was like 34 minutes or so. This one I did in 31 minutes. Y'all, I did not think I like beat it by that much more. Like that's just so encouraging. Today was cold, it's wet. I did pack gloves this time, which was a game changer. The last one I did, which was a turkey trot, I mean, my hands and my legs were purple and blue by the time the race was done. So grateful I packed those this time. Oh, I just love running. I love the community. I love the racing. I love it all. The way that we're all cheering each other on the whole time, it just makes me so happy. It feels like a community. Like it feels like this is like the vibe that I'm always trying to find wherever I live, is just like the small town vibes, kind of in a way where it's like we're all coming together and we're all cheering each other on. And I don't know, I'm just proud of myself for doing them. Like my goal is never to be the fastest runner or to accomplish some type of record. Honestly, when I do it, it's for my own record. Like it's just for my own ability to say that I did accomplish it, and I'm proud of myself for doing it. And despite how much crying I did on this run, I was genuinely like beaming. Like I was like smiling like the entire time, just so excited to run with everyone today that my cheeks started hurting a little. I was like, I don't know, it went so fast, and all the songs that I had queued, I had to start skipping through so many because I try to start and end all of my races with the same song. I forget what it's called. It's one of my favorite Christian songs that I run to, but it's always like every race that I've done so far, I always start and end with that song. I'm not sure about end, but for sure start. I want to at least start with that song always, and then I try, if I can remember, to end with that song, so it's always at the bottom of my queue. And I had to skip through so many to get to that last song. I was really shocked. I thought it was going to take me a lot longer, just because the training that I've been doing for the 10K isn't for speed necessarily. It's more for longevity's sake, but I really still want to push myself for speed in these 5Ks, especially since this is my 4th 5K. So I'm just so proud of myself, y'all. I mean, even if I didn't like get a faster time, like I love crossing that finish line and just feeling that sense of completion. And yeah, today has been a great day. So I am gonna take it easy with training next week. One, I've been reading my training books. It says that every 3 to 4 weeks you should chop your like goal mileage for that week in half and then go back to where you were before to like reset your body in a way. And I think since this will be week 9 or week 10 that I'm going into for training, and I'm coming off of just finishing a 5K, I think there could not be a better time to like finally call for my first half week that I should have already been doing like half weeks of. So I'm gonna take it a bit easier this next week, so I'm very excited for that. I'm gonna rest, I think Sunday and Monday, before I even bother to do a short run next week. So yeah, so excited, so proud of myself. So yeah. Okay, a little running update for you guys. I just finished my second 6.5 mile run that I've ever done. First one, amazing. I mean, it was my first one doing it, so it was hard, but like, yes, I took walking breaks, but I was really proud of myself the whole time. This time around, so genuinely hard. I don't know if it's just because of like the hard day that I had at work or like all the different mental health stuff that I feel like I'm going through in this current moment, but it was really hard to lock in. I think another thing I'm learning about myself is that for long runs, I need to do them outside because physically seeing the distance that's happening helps keep my brain stimulated in the run. I tried starting inside at my Y this time around, and I could only get 3.5 miles done on the treadmill. I think I got like another 2 done on the walking track, and then the rest I had to go outside. I dropped my stuff in my car, I brought my car key, locked that all up, and then was like, let's just run around the block until I hit my 6.5. This was one of the longest and hardest runs I've ever done. So that is where we are in the running progress for this 10K. Good morning, everyone. It is September 14th. It is race day. Just made my protein smoothie with my granola. I know I haven't checked in with you guys in a long time for this. Truthfully, I was going through a lot this summer, so a lot of my training did not go how I wanted it to go. But today is race day, and over the course of the summer, I did run 2 unofficial 10Ks during my training program. So at least this won't be the first time I'm running this distance. But even if it was, the first time I ran a 5K, that was the longest I've ever ran ever. I went into that 5K with no training whatsoever. So yeah, I'm very excited. I made a whole new playlist just for this race. I have my clothes set out, so as soon as I'm done with this and letting this start to digest, I'm gonna go change and do my hair. It sounds like potentially my roommate and my mom want to come support me and cheer me on at this race and watch me cross the finish line, so I really appreciate that. And I'm really excited. This is a whole new course. This is a whole new race for me. And it's a little bit away. It's not too far. It's like an hour from me. So I think that's kind of adding to the excitement of all. It also added to the travel time of it all, so that meant I had to wake up earlier than probably normal, but at least it gives me enough time to digest my smoothie. So, but yeah, I'm gonna finish eating this and go get changed. Yeah! Woo!
Way to finish strong, yay! All right, there you go. Good time, good time. Way to finish strong, my friend.
Good job. Well done.
There you go. Last verse. Here you come. All right. There you go. Way to finish strong.
Yay! Okay, y'all, welcome back to present day Sarah. I just rewatched all the clips that I've edited and videos from the day of, and just wanted to give a recap on the day and my experience and just training as a whole. I don't have any notes written down, but I just thought I would just talk about everything as the thoughts come to me. I guess we should start with training. I did mention this, I think, in a couple clips throughout the YouTube video already, but training did not go as I initially intended or planned. Originally, I was hoping to make like 2 huge chunks of training. One was more dedicated to building up like my goal mileage, because I was currently working with an average weekly mileage of 0. So obviously I needed to build that up. And then the second chunk that I wanted to do was to start working on like pacing and speed specifically, because I've never really trained for either of those. And I will say the first chunk of my training went really well. I felt like I broke it up into very manageable steps, following a lot of the tips and guidelines that those training books that I read suggested, and I will include photos of the training books and link them down below. I just checked them out from my library. They do have like, I think like proper guides at the end of each book of like, if you already know your pace and like how you want to accomplish your 10K, 5K, half marathon, marathon, they give you like running training guides for those. But I just took photos of them and then just referenced them when I was creating my own plan. That's why I felt like just checking them out from the library was totally fine. But if you're like a beginner and you think that this might be something that you want, owning it is nice too. You could probably also just print copies from the book too. The main person that I read, I'm gonna look at my Goodreads real quick. I know Galloway was the main books that I read on running. And honestly, most of his books cover the same material over and over again from at least the few that I've read. So once you have one, I feel like you're pretty set for most of the information that's going to be covered in most of them. Yeah, the first Jeff Galloway book that I read was Galloway's 5K/10K running training for runners and walkers. Loved that book. Honestly, now that I'm hoping to start training for longer distance racing, I'll also check out if he's got any more books, but I'm sure it's going to repeat a lot of the same information. I know training for like a 5K is a lot different than training for like a half marathon or a full marathon, but a lot of what Jeff Galloway talks about is the importance of like intermittent running. And so that is what I have practiced throughout all of my running training programs that I've done for myself. And then the second book that I read from Jeff Galloway was, I think, written with his wife, actually, Barbara Galloway, and she wrote A Woman's Complete Guide to Running. And that one I felt like repeated a lot of information and then just had like some tips for like women runners specifically. And I don't think I remember loving everything in that book, but I still think it was just like, I just wanted to read it just because I loved the first one so much. And then just checking my Goodreads real quick, because I know I read a couple other running books. Oh, this one's super cute. This one is just purely like an illustration book for children, but I thought it was just so cute. And like if I ever had children who were like getting into running or to like inspire young girls, it's called Her Fearless Run, Kathrine Switzer's Historic Boston Marathon. It's by Kim Chaffee and Ellen Rooney. And when I checked it out from the library, I didn't realize it was an illustration book, but once I had it in my possession, I was like, well, I might as well just read it. And I thought it was just so cute and so inspiring, so definitely recommend that just if you have any younger girls in your life that want to get into running. And then another book I read on running was Depression Hates a Moving Target, How Running with My Dog Brought Me Back from the Brink. And this was by Nita, Sweeney. And this one isn't like specifically on like how to train for a run or anything, but I just thought her story was very inspiring on how it wasn't the complete answer to her mental health problems, but how it helped her work through a lot of her mental health problems. And personally, as I was saying, my training program did not go according to plan due to some of my mental health problems I was dealing with at the time. So I personally found this book to be very inspiring, very relatable of why I love running and why it inspires me to keep pushing to do it, even though sometimes it's hard and it's physically painful at times. And honestly, just the first part of that title is like a thing that I keep in the back of my brain sometimes when I'm mentally going through it and I'm trying to push myself to keep running. I just really love the phrase depression hates a moving target. I just feel like there's something so motivating and inspiring about that. So definitely recommend. I would say definitely look up maybe trigger warnings before reading the book in case you're sensitive to any topics. And I think those are the main books that I read on running throughout my training program. But yeah, pretty much after May and the beginning of June, my training just kind of went downhill. I would keep trying to go on runs whenever I felt capable of it, but I definitely was not in a place to push myself to continue my training program to the intensity that I was doing it before. And honestly, when my 10K finally came around, I was honestly kind of like, I feel like a little disappointed in myself because I was hoping to be so much more prepared for the 10K. And so like right before the 10K started, like especially like the few days before the 10K, I think I was really mentally beating myself up because I knew that if I stuck with my training program, I'd be way more prepared for this race that I'm about to do. But as you can see in that video clip, I reminded myself, even my first 5K, like and not that I recommend going to any race for the first time, not having any training, I'm not saying that, but I was trying to give myself a little grace because I was like, even with my first 5K that I ever did, like I basically had no training going into that. So at least with this one, I have some training in my back pocket, and you know, that's how life goes sometimes. You know, it doesn't go how you always plan, and sometimes life throws bumps in the way. But as much as I was like mentally beating myself up the few days before the race, once I like got to the race on race day and like did the whole race and completed it, like I was so immensely proud of myself. And honestly, I think in a lot of ways I was more proud of myself for still showing up to the race and doing it than I probably would have been if I just continued my training program and had no problems whatsoever this past summer. Because I think to me that mentally like told me like, and showed me that even though I was going through hard things, that you can really push yourself to do things despite any mental struggle that you might be going through. And I just think that's one of the best lessons that running keeps teaching me over and over and over again. So I wasn't trying to hop on a soapbox just now. Just encouragement for anyone who might be considering doing like a 10K for the first time or any race for the first time, and maybe you have a history of on and off mental struggles, and maybe you're going through a training program for the first time and you're currently going through mental struggles. I just want to be a person to say like a little bit of encouragement that you can still do the best that you possibly can, even if that means you're only running once or twice a week leading up to the race. Still show up for yourself on race day, even if it means like your whole training program didn't go to plan. Because for me, it was super disappointing and I was beating myself up for it. But then at the end of the day, I still did the race. I still did it as best I possibly could. And yeah, it wasn't how I planned, but like that doesn't mean you still aren't capable of accomplishing really hard things. So I just want to encourage anyone who might be going through a training program right now and might be struggling through it that you're not alone. I feel like a lot of people talk about just like the struggles of running and like how running is like constantly a mental hurdle of just mentally pushing yourself to show yourself you're even more capable of what you thought you were. And I think that's a totally valid mental thing to go through as running as a hobby in general. But then having mental health on top of other things that I feel like most runners like go through, I think is a real conversation. So I just wanted to put a little blip in there of encouragement that you're not alone. It might be disappointing and it might be harder, or you might not do the race as well as you were hoping to do it, but at the end of the day, if you still got to the race and you still crossed that finish line, you still did the race. So yeah, that's my little soapbox about that for now, but I just did want to explain really quick why I didn't have as many update videos along the way as I was hoping to, and that's why. The other thing I learned in my training very early on is that despite whatever weather we might be having, the short runs that I've scheduled that week can be indoor or outdoor, but my long runs that I have scheduled each week have to at least like partially be outdoor, if not completely outdoor. I think for me mentally, like I have to like see the physical distance that I'm running if it's going to be a long run that day. Because when you're training for races, there's just only so many days each week that you can dedicate to either a treadmill run or like a track run before you're just like begging for like mental stimulation while you're running. So definitely recommend when you're planning your runs each week, if it's possible, look at the weather for the week and try to make the short runs on days where the weather doesn't really matter. But then the long run days are like the prime weather of that week. I'm trying to remember if there's any other big takeaways from my training program. I will also link a couple of my favorite YouTubers down below. And anything else that I can think of when it comes to running and what helped me with my 10K, I'll just link below in case anyone is curious. But yeah, I guess now we can move on to the day of the race. Honestly, just looking back now at like the photos and videos of race day, it made me tear up all over again. And like it is currently December 15th. And I think the fact that those videos and photos make me tear up, I think it just shows how much this race meant to me. And I think a big part of that was both my mother and my roommate came to support me on my race day, and that just meant the world to me. I think this was like technically the first official time anyone has been there for me at the beginning and the end of my race. My roommate has come to one of my 5Ks before to like give me snacks at the end, but the crowd was so big she couldn't find me until after I crossed the finish line. So like this was like my first time like having people with me before I started lining up into the 10K segment of this race. Also watched me, cheered me on as I was crossing the finish line. Like I've never had that before. And like that meant so much to me. Like I know that running is like a newer hobby for me and doing these races are like a newer thing for me. But there's something in me that's like, I don't want to make it like a big thing for everyone else. Like I know they're a big deal to me, but there's something in me that's like, I don't want to like make anyone come support me. But both my mom and my roommate it was like a no question, no brainer type of thing for them. They were like, we're coming that day. Like, what time is it? It was just so sweet having them there. And something I did for them while I was on my run was I gave them like access to my location on my phone so they could like track me like on the race route and like follow me along on my run so they knew like roughly when I was getting back to the finish line. Because the one that I did it at, it was kind of like an out and back situation, so the start line was also the finish line at that race. And yeah, it was so fun. I got there and just walked up to the table. I was nervous because this was a new race course for me. I haven't done this one before. Whereas the two 5Ks I've been doing every year, I've done both of those race courses multiple times now. And so just like even walking up to the table, I was slightly nervous. I was like, I hope this is the right table. And like they gave me my race packet, my race bib. And then my roommate and I, we just kind of like stood around. I started stretching while we were waiting for my mom. And something about this race and like the racing community in general and just the running community, I don't know what it is, but everyone I think is just so supportive and so excited for each other. So I think it just draws a lot of people like seeking community and wanting to talk to everyone who's there, even though like you don't know everyone that's there. And something about this race specifically, I felt like I have talked to the most people I have at a race thus far. It's just really sweet. Like it was really cute, like being able to talk to like other runners and like ask if this was their first 10K or first half marathon, because the race that I did was a 5K, 10K, and half marathon combo. And so I got to talk to people who they've done this race course before. It was their first race before here. Some people have never run a 5K before and they were just going for the whole half marathon. Like I just felt like I was starting to feel really comfortable in the running community, even though I'm very new still, I feel like, to the running community. And so I really loved that part about this race. It made me feel so a part of everything and so connected, and it was just a really good feeling. And then my mom eventually came and I gave her a hug and showed her where Liz was all set up, and I told both my roommate and my mom like a heads up, like I do not anticipate like crossing it like after an X amount of time, because I did run 2 unofficial 10Ks during my training program, and so I knew generally roughly what time I was capable of, but also it's been like months since I've run that distance, so I was trying to give myself some grace and give them a realistic goal of when I get back. But I also knew that they had my location so they would see how close I was. But since I wanted them to have a realistic expectation, I did warn both of them to bring like a camping chair and maybe a book or something, because it's going to be a minute till I get back across that line. Then it was go time, and my roommate got the clip of me running out of the starting gate, I guess is what it's probably called. And then I think in my head, I wanted to take like videos and pictures along the way, but like I just got like right into like running mode because I hadn't really had a chance to run in a hot minute and I didn't realize how much I missed it. And then I was like out the gate, like it was like everything in my training with like trying to learn how to pace just like went over my head for the first mile. I remember the first mile very vividly and how fast I was running it and like how out of breath I was by mile 1, and I was like, okay, Sarah, you have to slow down and start pacing yourself because you have like another 5x amount of miles to go and you gotta pace yourself, babe. You gotta pace yourself. So from that point on, I tried pacing myself, and I would say up until mile 3, I was like physically doing like okay. My biggest concern coming up to mile 3 was, since this race course continued on to do a half mile out and back type of course, I was constantly concerned about the turnaround point and missing it. Turns out this course does a fabulous job. It's very obvious when the turnaround point is. This race course is my first time having like a puppy stop where you, at the halfway point for the 10K, which is also the turnaround point for the 10K, they just had a bunch of puppies like in a playpen that you could like pet and like take a break if you wanted. And I've never seen a race do that before. I thought that was really interesting and it was very cute. Like I didn't like stop and pet them. I might have pet one puppy that someone was holding, but I didn't like stop to pet them. I just like smiled at them and went, oh, they're so cute, and like just like did the turn and like kept running. But then after the anxiety of finding the turnaround point was out of my mind, I think at that point that was when my mental space could then refocus on other things, including like the physical pain I was in. So I'd say around mile 3.5, 4, I was realizing how bad my thighs were chafing. My thighs were chafing so bad. And I've never really had that before when I'm running, and I don't know if that's because normally when I do either the turkey trot or the spring run, it's more cold when I run. But something about this run, I had really bad chafing happening. And so for future races, I would be really intrigued to try like body deodorant or some type of stick or cream to put on my thighs so that they don't chafe as bad. And then I would say around mile 4, 4.5, I realized I was getting aggressive blisters on my feet. I have never gotten like, I don't think, proper foot blisters before this 10K before, like at least through running. Like I've gotten blisters elsewise, but like running specific blisters, I don't think I've gotten before. And I was very shocked because like I've run in these types of socks before. They're not proper running socks. That's the other thing moving forward I'd really like to invest in is proper running socks, because I have learned my lesson the hard way. It was tough. but my feet were rubbed like raw. Like they had the most painful blisters on them, and like, this is gonna be gross and a little TMI, so just skip forward if this is gonna gross you out, but like the skin was flapping, my feet were bleeding, like it was a little tough. My thighs were also, they were chafing so bad that they were getting red and rubbed raw to the point of like starting to bleed a little too. So at this point, I am like hobbling running, and I'm also having a hard time breathing. This 10K was one of the first times that I realized how hard it is for me to breathe when running, and it makes me think, I could be wrong, but it makes me think that I might have like, I think it's called sports-induced asthma, don't quote me, because I don't think I have asthma normally, but, and even with my 5Ks, I don't think I've really had that much of a problem before this 10K, but something about this 10K, and mind you, I was following the Galloway plan of intermittent running, and also Jeff Galloway really emphasizes in his books that the second that you are like huffing and puffing and you can't breathe, you need to like stop to a walk. Like you need to start walking, like until you can breathe, and like you should be able to breathe to the point that you could carry a conversation when you're running. You need to just be walking until you can breathe again. And so there were many points on the second half of my 10K where I had to just walk and focus on breathing and hobbling, because it felt like no matter how deeply and much I focused on breathing, like no oxygen was getting to my lungs, and it was like a little like scary. It was like I've never like felt that before or experienced that before, but it felt like no matter like how deeply I felt like I was breathing or how slowly I felt like I was breathing, to like really focus on like slowing my breath, like it just did not feel like oxygen was getting to my lungs. I don't know what other way to describe it. It just was like, it felt like oxygen was just absent. And I know that's not like a thing, but like, I don't know if that's what asthma is, but that's what I picture it feeling like. So might have to look into that, stay tuned. But my 10K was my first time experiencing that. So I had a lot of physical things going on, specifically in the second half of my 10K. While all the physical things are happening, I am still like mentally like trying to keep pushing myself, like, Sarah, this is your first 10K, like, come on, like, run until you get past that stop sign, run until you get past this, run until you get past that. Because another thing with this 10K course that I wasn't prepared for was the roads weren't properly closed down. Like there were still cars driving alongside us, and then there were like cops and crossing guards like stopping traffic to help the runners pass. That was also something that I've never like raced with before. Like when I run around town or like run around the different neighborhoods, like that's something I'm very actively aware of, but like on race days, I'm so used to those roads are just closed until the race is done, that this was my first time experiencing a race where they keep the roads for the most part functioning. That also, I think, added to like the intensity of the 10K, as well as like, not that I really cared about my time that much, but like I think it also adds to like your time overall on your 10K or half marathon that you're doing at this course, which is just something to keep in mind when you sign up for race courses. And most races that you sign up for do a good job of explaining everything to expect on that race. So I might have missed it in like the description. I just wasn't fully prepared for that part. So there were many parts where I was like, oh my gosh, there's a car behind me as I'm running, and I just wasn't prepared. So I think it definitely got to a point where I just kept one earbud in and kept the other one out. The other nice thing about keeping one earbud in and one out, besides like just being like safe with traffic, was I could hear like all the crowds cheering, and I can't tell you how much the crowds cheering helped me get through this race so much. There were so many moments where I was like walking and huffing and puffing and just like crying, because I tend to cry on all of my races, but like just so proud of myself for still trying to do this even though I'm clearly like physically struggling through it. That there would be like people with signs or kids with signs like cheering me on and encouraging me to keep going, and then there'd be signs. I really enjoyed it. Like this had the most amount of crowd and signage that I have yet to experience at a race. And so there were so many signs that were like, punch the sign for like a power boost type thing. And so I would do every single one that I saw, and it was just so cute and so sweet. Like, and the kids, like I remember hearing some of the kids running back to their parents and being like, I encouraged her, she got faster because of me. And it was like, it was so cute. It was just so sweet. Like it just felt so community based. I don't know how else to put it. Like it was just so sweet. And then another thing that really helped me get through my 10K was, since I was wearing my AirPods, and this is a little tip for people who want to do running, not that AirPods are like the best, earbud to run with, but a great thing about them is because since they're syncing up with my iPhone, I have it set, I don't know if they're just automatically set this way, but I have it set where when someone texts me and I have my AirPods in, Siri reads me the text. And I don't even think my roommate knew that Siri was going to do that until I finished the race and I told her that I heard her text through my AirPods. And she sent me this really sweet text of like, wow, you're killing it. Like, you're almost there, because she and my mom were tracking my progress along the route. And that gave me such a boost to get through the last half. I think that also helped me so much. So like, that's a little tip also for people who want to do running. Like, people who aren't even like physically there could text you throughout your run, and like just hearing like the Siri read that to you, like, it just meant so much to me. So I think for like my future big races, I might like put that out there as like an option to my loved ones to be like, if anyone wants to shoot me like a text, like my run is starting at this time and I'm anticipating to end at this time, so send a text anytime during this time and my AirPods will read the text to me and that will encourage me to get through it. So I definitely want to do that like moving forward. The other thing about this 10K real quick, and then I'm almost done I think with my notes like during the 10K, but the other thing with this 10K was this was my first time drinking things along the route that weren't just water, and not even intentionally. But the way that this race did it, for some reason, they'd have water and Gatorade at both stations, but they wouldn't clearly clarify which one you were grabbing as you grab and run. So I would just grab whichever one was closer to me, or whichever one, you know, someone was offering to me as I'm passing. And half the time it was Gatorade. And it's not that I hate Gatorade. I like Gatorade, but like that's something else that I feel like a lot of training books and runners in general give you tips on, is to never do anything new on race day. You should just stick with everything that you normally do on race day. And I have never run with Gatorade. Like when I do my normal runs like around town, like I just drink water. So I think that also was affecting me a little bit, and it might be affecting me more mentally than physically, but I think my stomach was not happy with me for that choice, because normally that is not what I do when I run. So just something to be aware of. I know when I watch like all of like the New York Marathon TikTok, at those larger ones, it's very common that like people in the crowds want to hand you anything and everything. And I think that's part of the fun. Like, and if you're that type of runner, I think it's fun. But I do agree that changing anything race day can definitely like alter you physically, mentally, like how you're performing. Like, I think it's just something to be aware of, but it's still fun to like get freebie things throughout your race. So like, I don't blame people for doing it. I just realized that that was my first time like having something that wasn't water when I had my first cup of Gatorade, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's Gatorade. Like, I wanted water, but like you're running past, so like you're not gonna run back to get water. So yeah, that was like my only thing about that race course. I was like, I wish they like clearly like clarified some way, like with a sign or something, or maybe like the people of Gatorade wear a different shirt than the people of water wear a different shirt, you know, something, so that I know which one I'm grabbing when I'm running past. All that to say, still very grateful that they offered those. This race course, I think, also offered porta potties throughout the course. I didn't need to stop. It was only a 10K, and throughout my 10K training, I never needed to during a race. Like, I just made sure to go before, so... But it was still, like, a nice option in case you needed to. And also for the half marathon people, I can imagine that they might need to, so. I feel like those were pretty much, like all the physical things I was going through, and just had to push through until the end. Boy, I forgot how far in like the starting gate was. Like, I kept thinking it was gonna be closer than where it was, and it like took a hot minute before I saw like the finish gate like in my view. But once I did, like, I mean, every time you see it at any race, that's like just such an encouraging like visual to see for obvious reasons. But I was also mentally aware that like my roommate and my mom are in the crowd, so like I'm running and trying to focus on that, obviously, but like I'm also like scanning the crowd, because I'm like, man, they're somewhere in here, but I don't know like where to expect them completely. And so in that video clip that either my mom or my roommate took, that you can hear my mom cheering me on, it wasn't until I was probably, because I also wasn't wearing, I did have my prescription sunglasses I was wearing throughout the race, but at this point I took them off because I was back in the shade, I think, so I didn't need them. So I didn't have like contacts in or something. So it wasn't until I think I was like 5 feet away from the gate that I realized that they were right dead center at the other side of the finish gate, waiting to like hug me and congratulate me. And so I think you can see it in that video clip, like once I recognize where they are, Like, you can see, like, my smile and, like, me waving and them cheering me on, giving me a little bit more of that last boost to get me through, and it's just one of my favorite videos ever. Like, it makes me tear up every time, like, listening and watching that video. But yeah, I wasn't expecting them there because every other, like, race course I've done, it's, like, very strict about, like, where the crowd is, and, like, no one is really, like, standing on the other side of the finish gate like that. So I was not anticipating them being there. I was expecting them to be on the sidelines somewhere, so I think that also kind of made it special, seeing them physically on the other side of that finish gate. Like, I don't know, like, obviously, like, the race was, like, a goal for me, and, like, I wanted to accomplish it for me, but there's something very, like, sentimental and heartwarming about the idea of, like, running to my loved ones on the other side and, like, finishing this race, you know? So yeah, I think also immediately in that video, I, like, start breathing heavy, and I'm like, holy cow, like, I am tired, like, immediately, like. And then what my mom and my roommate told me was I did it faster than what I anticipated. And I checked my watch and I hit a 10K PR on my first official 10K race. I was floored. I did not think that was possible, especially with everything that I was going through and how my training plan got interrupted and I didn't finish it how I wanted to finish it. And I was just showing up to the race day, just going to try to do my best. I not only finished my first official 10K, even though my mental health wanted to make me think I wasn't capable of doing it, I also got my 10K PR on my first official race. I was floored. I think, again, normally I'm not, like, huge on, like, having, like, a certain time or hitting a PR all the time, but there was something about the combination of everything that was happening at this 10K that just, I'm just so proud. Like, I am just, like, I don't mean to be, like, cocky about it anyway, because I am not the world's fastest runner by any means, but, like, for me personally, like, I beat my personal record. I beat my PR, and I was obviously proud of that, but because I told my mom and my roommate that, like, I don't think I'll be crossing it until X amount of time, they also, I felt like, really got to celebrate that victory with me because they saw and witnessed me beat what I said that I thought I was going to do. And, like, I just look back at that moment so much, and I'm just, like, so proud. Like, I cannot express enough how much these races, like, mean to me. And, like, it's a hobby that I just, again, never thought I could get into or see myself getting into. And, again, I'm not the best runner by any means, but it has just brought so much fulfillment in my life. And, again, just really just try and encourage people to get into it if it's something that you're interested in, really. After giving them very sweaty hugs, I saw my roommate made me a sign. It's so cute. I have it hanging on my whiteboard back here. She told me that she was bringing coloring supplies as, like, an activity, and so I didn't think anything of it, but what she was really doing was making me my first ever, like, sign that anyone's ever made for me on a race before, and it's so cute. Like, I was not expecting this at all. And so this also just added to, like, the whole day, obviously, because I just felt like my people really showed up for me and made me feel so special on this day, and I'm just so honored. But yeah, I guess this is also kind of a perfect segue into something that I wanted to talk about on this video also that just makes me laugh, is at all of the races that I've done, I like to look on the website or the Facebook once they post, like, the official photos from the race to see if I'm in any of them, you know, or even if just a part of me is in them. And this was the first race that I've ever done that I've been in a few photos. And I think it just makes me laugh because these photos that I got of me in this race are arguably not the most attractive, flattering photos of me. But I feel like they really show me throughout the day, and it's just 3 photos that I got from, like, the official race, but I feel like they are 3 moments that I wanted to share with you guys real quick. The first one was of me and my roommate, and we're just standing/sitting, waiting for my mom to show up, and that was, like, the tree that I was stretching by and everything. And then the second one was of me heading out of the starting gate, and it is not the most flattering photo of me, like, I've ever taken. Do not get me wrong, but, like, seeing the smile on my face and, like, knowing that that's, like, the very start of my first official 10K, that photo just means so much to me. And I think that's kind of, like, just, like, a funny little anecdote to share of, like, anyone who, like, does them and, like, you get your photos back and, like, maybe they're not the most flattering photos, but it's just, like, I think just allowing yourself to still live in the moment, even though every moment that gets captured won't be the most photogenic, I think is kind of key to these races. And the last one I got is of me and my roommate, I finished crossing the finish line, and after I gave both my mom and my roommate very sweaty hugs, my roommate gave me this washcloth that was soaked in ice water. And let me tell you, game changer. This place had such great like amenities for post-race like type stuff. And one of them was just a crap ton of towels that you could like dunk into a bucket of ice water, and then you could use it to like cool down like either your neck or like any part of your body that might want it. And so she gave that to me, and it was literally a godsend. I'm telling you, like I immediately like was putting that on my neck and on my face because I was like burning up, and then immediately I was like, oh my gosh, I can put this on my thighs. And then that's what's happening in that photo is me, I think, putting it like on my thighs, and it just makes me laugh. Like, now, to be fair, the first and the third photo of these 3 photos that I got from the race, I'm just in the background, like I'm not the focal point by any means. But they do make me laugh because those are all moments that happen throughout the race day that are true to, I just feel like the vibes of the race for me, and I just think I'll always like looking back on them. So those were the race day photos. And then once I was like done cooling down and had a moment to drink some water, I wanted to get some photos with my mom and my roommate, and so I'll insert them now too. But like, again, I know I already expressed it so many times, but them being there with me at this race meant the absolute world to me, and I think it definitely like changed my perspective moving forward with especially the larger races that I want to start doing. That I already know that not everyone can come to every single race that I do, and like I'm clearly comfortable going to races by myself even if I don't know a single soul, but that if people in my life want to come or have the opportunity to come, that I can open that up to them, and that it's actually a lot of fun when you have people there that you actually know cheering you on, because it's fun to have the whole crowd cheering you on and everything, but there's something a little bit different and a little bit more special and unique when it's your loved ones because they know you outside of this race, and I just think that's a memory I'll never forget, having them there. So yeah, I'm so excited that I finished my first 10K. And like how I feel like hinting throughout this video, I am planning to do some larger races coming up because I wanted to first see if I could handle a 10K, and despite all the physical things that came out of it, I feel like they're just lessons for now these larger races that I'm hoping to accomplish. And so after my first 10K, I completed my first race ever out of state. All of my 5Ks and my only 10K have all been in state. And then I had to go to Missouri for Thanksgiving this year because my childhood bestie got married the day after Thanksgiving. And so I did my first out-of-state race in the city that I was born in. And it was just a turkey trot, it was just a 5K. But that meant so much to me also. I believe that was my 5th 5K. So I have now accomplished 5 5Ks and 1 10K so far. I am hoping in the year of 2026 to accomplish my 2nd 10K, my 8th 5K, my first half marathon, and then my 9th 5K. I believe I have 5 races that I'm hoping to do next year. We'll see how it goes. As this year taught me, not every year goes how you are planning and hoping it to go. But another thing that I learned on the brighter side of that is that you can still plan for it and hope for it. And even if life doesn't go how you want it to go, you can still show up for yourself for it. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what 2026 has in store for me. I will definitely keep you guys posted on all of my races. I did not think that I was going to talk for about an hour about all of this, but for those that stayed and watched the whole thing, I hope you guys enjoyed. And if there are any people who are runners or getting into it that have any tips or advice or anything like that, I feel like I'm constantly wanting to accumulate all of the advice, so please feel free to share any that you have. And yeah, I think that's all. Crazily enough, I've also already planned my first race for 2027 and potentially going to do it with one of my camp friends. Very excited about that race, and that one is 2 years away. So we have a long time till that race, but it's fun to have things to look forward to. So anyway, on that note, I believe I have said everything that I have wanted to say on this topic. And like I said, I'm sure I'll make more videos in the future about my future races. So if I didn't cover everything in this one, I'm sure we'll cover it in a future one. But I will go ahead and leave you guys on that note. So as always, I hope you guys are having a good day, but if you're not, that's okay too. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!